Hello everyone, welcome again to Foso TV. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, like and share our videos. If you are a returning subscriber, you are welcome. Good to have you here once again. So today we are going to continue on our study on Genesis 12 and 13. We are looking at the life of Abraham. From last week we learned from Abraham how that God can lead us out of our comfort zone to another place. God can lead us to relocate, just like he told Abraham to leave where he was to another place. We learned that working with God is not always a bed of roses, right? So today we are also focusing on the life of Abraham in Genesis 12 and 13. Another thing we saw for Abraham was the fact that he had patience even in that uncertainty. God did not give him the full details up front. Abraham was still patient. We saw that Abraham kept journeying, and as he journeyed, he kept building on altars for God, right? You want to say, why was he building altars? That was to signify the presence of God, his worship to God, and all of that. So the altars Abraham kept on building as he journeyed was just to signify that he remembers God in a place. He acknowledges God's presence in that place, right? Even though Abraham didn't have that full picture, he just simply journeyed as God led him. And that is one thing for us today. That is one thing we need to emulate. There are some times when we are very uncertain about things in our life. There are certain phases in our life when we are very uncertain. We don't know the next step. We don't know the next we don't know the next step to take, the next thing to do. And God is leading us in certain direction. It might not give us the full picture, but because you don't have the full picture, you just find it hard to obey God. You just find it hard to follow God. But for Abraham, we saw that he didn't have to have the full picture. He didn't have to know about everything. He just needed God to tell him, go this way, and he went. He didn't have the full picture. Even when God asked him to kill his son Isaac, even when God asked him to sacrifice Isaac, his son, he still did not think about it. When it comes to faith, we see that Abraham is that man that is our perfect example. Looking at the life of Abraham, we see that he really had faith in God. Yes, he had times when he wanted to doubt. He had times when he wanted to drift away. But we saw that he never drifted. He continued in faith. So today's lesson is that even in days when we don't have the full picture, we should trust God. We should learn to trust God. Even in days when we don't have clarity, days when we are very uncertain of what next, what is the next thing to do, what is going to happen next. We should learn to trust God. We should learn to be obedient to God even when we don't have the full picture. I can always say God knows ahead of us, he sees ahead of us. We can only see below our nose, right? God knows ahead of us, he sees ahead of us. That is the reason why we ought to obey him when he's leading us. We ought to trust his leading wherever he's leading us. We learn from Abraham to always trust God, always be patient with God, even when we don't have the full picture, even when we don't have the clear picture of things, right? I hope you've learned something from the life of Abraham today. We're going to continue next week. Have a great time.